This is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about fallow season. So, for those of you that don't know, fallow season is a time when farmers actually allow the fruits and vegetables to just rest. They allow the nutrients, everything that needs to happen within the garden, within, whatever it is that they've planted, they allow it time to grow. They allow it time to get to whatever replenishment or whatever it's gonna do in the season of rest. And so earlier today, I'm always trying to learn something new, and I always want to try to just be the best version of myself. And so I might have to do my nails on camera again because one of them chipped, and then, it's hard to do all of them. And then it was a whole thing. And so I'm going to try to do this while I'm on camera again. And hopefully I have enough time because I'm trying to be in bed early because of the thing that I learned today. And I'm hoping that it'll help and it'll bless you and your life as well. And so what happened was earlier today I was learning like I usually am. I'm always like either listening to a podcast, I'm listening to some kind of, money well, not really investing. Usually it's about investing in yourself, or it's about like saving, or, being a good steward of your finances, being a good steward of the things that you have already, being a good steward of the gifts that God's already given you, how to just utilize those gifts and be able to expand it to do more in your life, to change things. And the best way that people change things is by learning and growing and investing in themselves. And so for me, earlier today, I'm sitting there and I'm doing this training, and I'm learning just different techniques about life. I'm learning different ways to grow, to expand, to evolve, just to develop into the best version of myself. And so I love learning, especially when it's stuff like this. And so if there's like a memoir, if there's something that is like about someone else being successful, if there's a story about someone's life that can impact me in one way or another, or something that helps me grow emotionally, to develop more emotional intelligence, I'm all for that. Like, I love those books. And then, my guilty pleasure is like suspense novels, or, ones that are like, there's kind of like a detective somewhere and they're investigating a case. I like stuff like that just because I like to see the good guys come out on top. And so it'll be like, if I was watching like one of the cop shows or something, and it was in a book, this is what it would be. And so, and it's always, well, detective. I shouldn't say cops, but you know what I mean. And so earlier today, I did this training, and it's called the 5 a.m. Club. And I know some of y'all have probably already heard or learned what the 5 a.m. Club is all about and what it means and all the other stuff. But I was new to this. I had no idea. Like, I had heard someone say, there was someone in the past who wrote this book talking about how they ended up setting a schedule for themselves and getting up early and things like that. And I was talking to God lately because I've been like, God, I got rid of some things in my life because I wasn't sure if you really wanted me to have them. And then some things just didn't work out and were removed from my life. And God was saying, I need you to want this. Like, I really need you. Like, if you want that guy, that car, that house, that job, if you want, to change the world, the things that you want, you do realize it's going to come with intentionality. It's going to come with you actually fighting for the things that you want. And I was having a moment with God, and I was just like, God, I'm not the type of person that just fights for things like that. Like, I've fought for silliness before. Like, I've fought for things that I should have never fought for before in my life. Like, the thing that was like the worst for me, I wanted to fight for that thing. But when it comes to things that I truly desire, like things that I really, really want, I usually just go, oh, well, maybe it's just not mine. And God's like, if you could keep that same energy that you have for the things that I'm telling you aren't good for you, but you go for it anyways, you would be all right. you know? And it's so true, because sometimes we expect the things that we really truly want to just come to us. Like, we feel like we got to hustle bustle and just do the most to get it. And God's saying, look, you have to put forth an effort and be intentional with your life. And I'm not saying you should go all out the way and then fight for something that's not for you, that God said you can't have in the first place. I'm talking about if God is saying that something is for you, and this is the position that you want in your life, then you're going to have to put some sort of effort into it. You can't just give the bare minimum and expect to get it. Like, yes, God is in it, but God doesn't expect you to give him the bare minimum when you're working for him. Like, you still have to keep that same energy that you had when you were being disobedient when you were a kid. That same energy you had when you dated that person when everybody else told you not to. The same energy that you had when you just had a whole bunch of mouth and a bunch of neck rolling and you just knew everything. That same energy that you had at that level is the same energy that you need when you're doing it for God. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we really feel like when we're doing things for God that we got to give like this bare minimum effort. Like we got to do a little bit. Like, God, I'm gonna kind of try this, but not really. And God's like, either you about that God life or you're not. Like, do you want this? Because if you really want this, you have to start acting like you want to be a wife. You have to start acting like you want the job. You have to start acting like you want to change the world. World changers don't happen by you just being quiet, sitting in the background, and just acting as if your voice doesn't matter. He told me earlier today, and it really shut me all the way up. He was like, "You're still acting like your voice doesn't matter." And I was like, whew, I felt that in my soul. I was like, God, okay, yeah, you're right. You are so right. You're absolutely right. Because, it's something about when you are doing something in your life and you're like, you know that you know that you know, and you do something with the confidence, with just so much zeal. And it's something else when you do something with kind of like a scarcity. Like you're kind of like timid about it. And that's how I was acting when I was working on God's behalf, doing some of the things that I needed to do. Like God would say, "Okay, I need you to go do this thing." And I would do it, but I would do it like slowly, like I'm like still a little timid about it. Or he'd be like, "Say this." And I go to say it, but I would say like, "I think." And then God's like, "Do you know or do you not know? Like, do you know whose you are?" Like, because if you really know that you're about that God life, if you really know what your purpose is, then start acting like you know. Start acting like your voice really does matter. I know, like, in the past, somebody might have told you, or people might have behaved as if they didn't really hear what you said, or they didn't care about what it was that you needed to say. But what you have to say is what I need for you to say. Like, I gave you a voice for a reason for you to use it. I gave you the gift of writing for a reason for you to use it. Whatever your gift is, God gave you that gift for a reason. He didn't give it to you so that you could die with it. He gave it to you so that you could utilize it, so that you can make the most of it, so that you can use that gift to replenish the earth. Like, and when I say replenish, I don't mean replenish in the God way. I mean like pour into it, add value to it, give something of value to the things in your life, the people around you that are waiting on your message. They're waiting on you to start moving. Sometimes people's blessings haven't been answered because you haven't done anything. The worst thing that I think about in my life is me being so like not being confident enough in the gifts that God gave me that I just allow it to just pass by. Meanwhile, this other person who's been praying for a year for some kind of word, something, some kind of proof, or, they just need something, another little push just to be able to get them to the level where God wants them at. And I'm the person who's supposed to give them that because they're going to see me do it and they're going to know, oh, well, I knew her from this place, or she was like this, or, back in the day, this is the same person and she's really about God, like, things like that. Sorry. I was gonna put my hand up here and then I was like, it's uncomfortable, so I moved it down, but it's the whole thing. It's just gonna look like that. The shirt's just gonna go over in the front. It's fine. Nobody cares. And so anyways, let me get to the topic. And so I did this training. It's called the 5 a.m. Club. Own your morning, about elevate your life. I don't know why I was gonna say evaluate. Elevate your life, and it's by Robin Sharma. And so it started off, talking about this story about this billionaire and how two people were working with this person, and the person was talking about how they became a billionaire. But they said, I will show you everything I know if you decide to wake up at 5 a.m. to meet me every day. Every day that we talk, every day we do a meeting, we need to meet at 5 a.m. So these two random people got up. They ended up meeting with this billionaire. And the first thing that it said was getting up at 5 a.m. gives you a limitless multiplying effect on your life. And I know for some people, when you hear that, you're like, okay, it is what it is. But let me tell you something. God has really been putting on my spirit the past few days. Multiply. I'm the God that multiplies. Because you know me, I can multiply any situation. You're thinking that you're making this much, but I can multiply that. You're thinking that your business is only going to do this, but I can multiply that. You're thinking that, the faith that you have is only going to give you this, but I can multiply that. Whatever you're thinking of, multiply it, because I could do all of those things. And the first time somebody said it, I was like, okay, multiply. Like, I'm the God that can multiply. Like, I don't just add, I multiply. That was the first pastor that said it. And I was like, yes, so true. And I heard it, but I didn't like really digest it, you know? And so I was just kind of like, oh, okay, God is the God that multiplies. We know God can do exceedingly and abundantly above all else, that you ever ask, think, or imagine. We know, that God is about abundance. He's the God of abundance. Sorry. Me and my daughter, we had some technical difficulties within the house today. I don't know what was happening, but I tried a few like tech things that I don't know about, but I just tried it. And so when I tried it, it ended up allowing the Wi-Fi and everything to work because I was on the phone with tech like for a little while yesterday, and then they were gonna send somebody out on Friday. And so we were sitting there going, woo, and I never raised my voice, so my voice hurts now. And I know y'all like never, I'm not saying I haven't in the past, but I really do like to just be calm and just, if I can't say it like this, I don't need to say it at all, So, so now my voice hurts because I was excited about the internet. It's nothing like not having something that makes you appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And so, and that's for all things. And so, why did I say it like that? But anyways, so the pastor says it first, and I'm like, oh, okay, I know this. I know God is the God of abundance. Then another pastor says the same thing. And then someone else says something similar to that. And they're talking about God, changing things and adding to your life or, multiplying your life. And I'm just like, okay, God, you're saying that you're going to multiply my life. I get it. And I keep hearing in my head, like, because I was waking up when I was doing Lent at 5 a.m. every morning, and God was like, wake up at 5 a.m. And I didn't know like what to do, but I just heard this other person who God had them wake up at 3:17 every morning, and the intention was to read the Bible. She turned to the Bible, and it was time to spend with God and to journal. I didn't know that that was a thing. If I had known, I would have been writing the whole time. I didn't know. And so I woke up at 5 a.m. every day, and I just kind of, just woke up at 5 a.m. and spent time with God, giving him thanks and stuff like that. I didn't even do anything with the time. I mean, I did stuff with it because I was spending time with God, but you know what I mean? I didn't utilize it in any way. I didn't like do more with it because I didn't know like what the purpose was behind it. I was just trying to be obedient. And so the next person, well, no, this was once I did this training. So I do this training, and I feel in my spirit when the training says this part. It literally said, getting up at 5 a.m. gives you a limitless multiplying effect on your life. Whew. And I literally felt it in my soul when it said that part. It's like, and it was like God was saying, I've been trying to tell you I can multiply that. Like, you keep thinking this was the best that I had. You keep thinking that this was all I could do. And you keep saying things like, I could do exceedingly and abundantly above all else. But you're still thinking that your voice doesn't matter. You're still thinking that this is the best guy that I could provide to you. You're still thinking, and if this is the guy that you want, then you need to act like you want him. Don't just act like it doesn't matter, you know? And God can really put you in your place. I'm telling you, like, that's the type of God that I like. He about that life, you know? And so, yeah, so that's what was happening. And I was just like, you're right, God. you are absolutely right, because I'm saying, you could do exceedingly and abundantly above all else, and I believe it in almost every area of my life. And I say that to be transparent, because some people will say it and they'll just make it seem like, oh yeah, I get everything I want. I do this, blah. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm that person. I wish that I was the type of person who could just be so full of faith that I know. Like I know most things, but I don't know everything, and I'm still working on being more faithful in other areas of my life. Just like the relationship thing, like that's an area of my life where sometimes I feel like, oh, okay, God, I could see that you could do this in my life. And then some days I'm like, I mean, it just, sometimes it's just like, oof, I'm just like, I don't know. And God's like, listen, you did not do all the right things and come this far to go backwards. Like, don't go back down that road. You need to stay faithful because I got you. And I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. And part of me is kind of like pulling back, like, just go the opposite direction. Just go back. It would be easier. Like, you would know what to expect with these people. Like, stuff like that. And God's like, if that's all you want, go back. And I'm like, that's not all I want. I want this thing. I want the thing that I had, that I almost had. I want that in my life. I want anything that you have for me. And I don't want to settle. Like if this thing wasn't the God's best for me, or what God appointed, he had set aside for me, then I don't want that thing. I don't want it just because I want it. I want it because God wants that for my life. I want it because it's what I actually need in my life. To just I don't want to just have things just to have them. I want everything in my life to have meaning, and to glorify the kingdom of God first off. And so as I learned about this 5 a.m. club, it started talking about different things, which I took notes because, I love to write. And so, of course, I filled up like a whole bunch of pages, but I'm not going to go that deep. I'm gonna try to stick to like the main things. So it says that, I was going to call this transient hypofrontality, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to be that person. So I just called it, the other thing. And so, and so transient hypofrontality it just means that you're well placed to achieve a state of flow in your thinking. So that's like, it helps you focus and enhances the concept of your thinking. So instead of you being like distracted by a whole bunch of things, or when you get up, you're picking up your phone. It's like they've done like a study, and supposedly when you wake up at 5 a.m., it's before you get a chance to doubt yourself. It's before the world hits you. It's before all of these things start happening in your life around you. So it really gives you time to just be, you know? And so I never thought about it like that. And it says, I'm just going to read this off of this because I feel like this explains it better than me. But it says at 5 a.m., the brain's frontal cortex temporarily shuts down, allowing you not to overanalyze. That's what I need in my life. It's like God was like, you need help? Here you go. Like this is what I've been saying. Like I'm so over analytical, and I really want to accomplish all of the things that God wants me to accomplish in my life. And sometimes it's so difficult because my mind is going like a million miles a minute. I literally am so overthinking everything. Like, God gave me a few times to like make decisions in my life to do things, and I overthought it so much. I talked myself right out of making the decision that I need to make. Like right now, I'd be in a whole nother situation if I hadn't been overthinking. Like it's that bad. And I've been working on it, but it's a whole thing. And so it says that the peace of daybreak stimulates the production of neurotransmitters, releasing dopamine and serotonin. And we both know that those things are released also when you're exercising, which is really, really happy, really, really good for you. So it allows you to be fully energized and focused and in the zone. So instead of you being all over the place, that's what I was saying in simpler terms, but that's the science behind it. And everyone knows that when those neurotransmitters are opened, it usually allows your brain to be able to think better as well. And so, and I only know that because, I like to study dreams and then psychology and all that stuff. So I just did that for fun. But yeah, so that's what that does. When it is releasing those things into your brain, it's allowing the neurons to regenerate like at an increasing speed instead of it taking like a longer time for your brain to transmit those messages to you. It's like a abrupt thing. And so I'm just saying, like everybody knows that. But anyways, and I gotta stop doing that. Not everybody knows that, so now more people will know that. And so it says, if you want to change the world, I felt this in my spirit too. I was like, God is using this whole training just to speak to me because he's been telling me all of these things over and over and over again, and I've been hearing him, but I haven't really been listening. I've been like blocking myself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but God's been saying you need to get up early. You need to get up. And I'm like, okay, God, I'm gonna get up at this time. And God's like, no, you need to be focused. I got things that I need for you to do. You need to be focused. I'm not just the type of God that's just gonna give you a blessing. I'm gonna multiply that blessing. Like you keep thinking that this is all I can do. You keep talking about abundance, but you keep living like I'm not abundant. You keep living like you're in scarcity. Like this is the only God that was ever created. Like this is the only job that was ever created. And I don't mean job like I'm so blessed right now in that area. Like, I love everything God has given me right now. I really, really do. I couldn't ask for a better place. Seriously. And hopefully I could say that on camera. But God is saying, no, I can do everything. Like sometimes we put this limit on God, like, oh yeah, I'm good here. This is fine. This is all I need. And God's like, that's not all I had for you. Why do you keep stopping me? Why do you keep stopping what I'm trying to do in your life? As if that's the only thing that I can do when I can do so much more. Sorry. It's hard to do that and that. And so, one technique that is helpful from what this training says is day stacking. Day stacking is your ability or skill is enhancing one ability or skill every day, 1% every day. So 25% of your day is used to be productive. You're doing something in your life and you're honing in on that skill so you can become a master at it. They said that if at 25% of your day for 10 years you do the same skill, you will be a master at it in 10 years. And so I didn't write that part down, but I just remembered that. And then so it just says, spend your first hour every day focusing on you, your mindset, your approach to health, spirituality, and love. And so there are 4 interior empires. And for those of you that don't know what an interior empire is, it's like a set. So like mindset, health set, heart set, soul set. These are the 4 main sets. They are the 4 main interior empires of your life. With all 4 of these things, you could change the world. You could change everything about your life. And some people say, oh, mindset is the only thing, but they were saying mindset is just one of the 4. That's why you see people's health go down, but their mindset is speaking positive. You might see somebody who's healthy and it seems like their soul is just not full enough. It's because they're not feeding their soul. You have to be able to replenish all of these things in order to be truly successful in your life. And so I wrote down like a little like side notes here and there just so I could have everything that I need. But it says your mindset is your optimistic thoughts. This will improve your life. So if you're speaking positivity over yourself, if you're saying that you can do this, if you're saying that you believe in yourself, if you are saying that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me, if you are speaking life into yourself every morning, you are doing your I am affirmations. And when you say I am, you're calling on the name of God. When you're saying I am, you're saying that I truly believe that God is who he said he is. I truly believe that he can do all things, that there's nothing that my God can't do. And there's no person that could come along that could ever stop me from believing that God is going to help me accomplish whatever it is that I need to do in my life, you know? And so It's almost time for me to go to bed if I want to wake up at 5 a.m. I need to get it together. Yep, it is almost time. That was quick. Okay. So, health set, optimal fitness, adding it will add life expectancy to build legacy. Some of us don't understand or realize that us focusing on our health, eating healthy, exercising, you know, God willing, will expand our life. And not only will it expand our life, it'll give us more time to work on our dream. It'll give us more time to work in our purpose. And while we're working in our purpose, we can create a legacy for everyone that's coming behind us, for generations to come. The next thing is heart set, focusing on your emotional life. This, if you focus on this, you will soon feel the difference. And there was this quote, of course, I had to write this down because it's by Sigmund Freud. And for those of you who don't know, Sigmund Freud was one of the best psychologists in history. He is the one who created the theory of socialization. That is when you are discussing something, or when you're speaking about something that happened in your life and you feel relieved because you've expressed the way that you feel about it. And so I really truly believe that's one of the best forms of healing that you could ever have in your life is socialization. Because that moment that you start speaking, you tell the truth and shame the devil. You start speaking against those things that hurt you, or the things that are bothering you, or the things that are hindering your growth, or whatever else allows you to be able to release it. And instead of you carrying it, it's out in the world. You don't have to worry about it anymore, And so here's the quote that I have never heard, but I was like, I definitely have to write this down. And of course I did research, because I do the research thing. I just love doing stuff like that. But Sigmund Freud stated that unexpressed emotions will never die. Never die. That's why you got that taunting feeling inside of you. That's why you keep on replaying that thing over and over again. That's why when there's something that was never said, like you had something that you wanted to say in a conversation, or there's something that you really care about, somebody that you really care about so much, and you never got a chance to say anything, that's why it eats you up inside, because it never dies. It continuously lives inside of you. You have to find a way to release that thing by either talking to the person, writing it down, recording it, putting it on a piece of paper in a controlled environment and burning it, or whatever else it is that you need to do to release it, because it will always be carried around with you. It says, he said that it won't die and they will come forth in uglier ways. That's why you see hurt people hurt people. That's why you see people lash out, because they don't have a way to express and release all of those things that they've been holding on to. And so the last thing is the soul set. The soul set is spirituality bonded with the hero inside of you by knowing who you truly are. This is where you're focusing on your religion. You're focusing on God. You're allowing your soul to be fed by reading the Bible. You are doing things that are intentionally growing and developing you spiritually. You're taking a moment to just be, just be in God's presence. And so there's a few more things, and I'm going to try and make this quick because I do have to go, because I'm not trying to be up all night and I got to take my shower and everything. And so another helpful tip about the 5 a.m. club was the 20-20-20 formula. And a lot of people probably know what this is. But this is where you take the first hour of the morning. Like if you're waking up at 5 a.m., this is how you set your intentions for the entire day. You will first, from 5 to 5:20, let's say, okay, you're waking up at 5 a.m., you move. This is you performing a vigorous, sweaty exercise. You want to make sure that you are sweating hard. You're making sure that you are really working out or doing some kind of, something that is allowing you to be like exercising, on the bike, walking, running, sit ups, legs, whatever it is that you're doing. And the BDNF, which is the brain-derived neurotrophic neurotrophic factor. It repairs brain cells and accelerates the formation of new neural connections. And so this is what I'm talking about movement when I said that it allows the pathways to transmit messages quicker and sooner. So instead of you like maybe taking longer to react, you'll be able to react quicker. And then not only that, but then when someone is saying something to you, you'll be able to process it sooner as well. And the next 20 minutes would be 5:20 to 5:40. This 20 minutes you will do reflection. You will, you know, be in deep peace and solitude. You'll think about what is most important to you. What is it that you truly care about? What is it that you truly desire in your life? What is it that you want? I mean, that you need in your life. And then write those thoughts in a journal. Like, don't just be like, oh, okay, that's what I want, whatever, and just keep on going. Write it down. Like, write it down and make it plain. I know that's biblical. See, God just be working in so many ways. And then the last 20 minutes of the hour, you will spend 20 minutes to grow. This is where you learn and study. You will study the lives of people who have accomplished the thing that you want to accomplish in your life. Like you're saying you want to be a millionaire. Maybe you spend the 20 minutes listening to a biography, audiobook, or, something that talks about how this person became a billionaire or a millionaire. Maybe you see how someone's life changed because they believed in themselves. Maybe it's something inspirational, but it needs to be something that's allowing you to learn something new and to use it to grow who you are. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't put that piece on my nail and I had to focus in that second. And so, and this is what I did for fun. But I love doing stuff like this because it just helps me just feel like I'm pouring into myself. And so, balance is important and it's the secret to success in becoming a history maker, changing the world. The last thing that they said, which I think is one of the most important things, is how you spend the last hour of your day is almost as important as the peak performance of how you spend the first. Performance and recovery matters. Sometimes we feel like, oh, at the beginning of the day, we're intentional. Like I do my grateful, thankful thing. I'm doing a devotional. I'm speaking I ams into my life. Maybe I do that at the beginning of the day. At the end of the day, I have the hardest time falling asleep and winding down and everything. And when I read this, I was like, this is what's my holdup. My holdup is, yes, I need to be waking up earlier and getting more sleep. Also, I need to make sure that I'm winding down before I go to sleep. Like right now, I need to make sure that when I take this shower and I get out of the shower, get into the bed, nothing is on around me. And in order for me to do that, I need to make sure I'm intentional about it. I can't just be like, oh yeah, call me at real late so I can be on the phone late and not get the rest that I needed. I need to make sure that I'm intentional about my wind down as much as I am about my wake up. So at the end of the day, the last thing I do at night is I spend time with God. I'll say, God, thank you so much for the day that you've given me. Thank you for everything that you've allowed to happen today because I know it was meant to add on to whatever is going to happen tomorrow. Let your will be done, not my will. I don't ever understand everything that you're doing. Sometimes I don't like some of the things that you're doing. And I say that because sometimes, we don't always like what God is doing in our life. We don't always agree with, the things that God's doing. We know it's for our best interest. But at the time when you're hurting, when you feel sad, when you wanted that job, that person, place, or thing, it doesn't feel great, in the moment. And even though you know that God's looking out for your best, He has the best intent. And He really wants you to be prosperous in your life. He wants you to have everything that you need. It's not that He would ever take something away from you without replenishing it with something else. He's only removing it because He knows that He has better for you, or that the timing isn't right. Like you're not ready yet. And sometimes, I get in my feelings about it and I'm just like, God, I really wanted this thing. And God's like, either you're not ready, or he says something like, it's just not time, or I have something else for you. And I'm like, I can't imagine something being better than this. Or I can't imagine, something like what it would be. And God's like, you don't need to worry about that. That's for me to take care of. That's not you. I just need you to be intentional. I just need you to be obedient. I just need you to keep doing the things that I'm telling you to do. Don't just stop because you don't know what's going to happen next. Don't just stop and think that you need a play by play or a blueprint of my strategy for your life. All you have to do is be you, and I will take care of everything else. And I'm like, God, I'm really like, that's why I got that control necklace, the serenity prayer, because I really need to release control and allow God to just do what he needs to do. Like, I don't ever understand what God is doing when he's telling me go this place or talk to this person or work on this. It'll be random stuff and he's like, make this thing. And I'll make it and it'll be selling like crazy. And I'm like, it's just like a regular, I don't even understand how this is the thing. And I will make an idea and it'll be something I think is the coolest thing ever, and no one ever buys it. But when God is in it, it's like God put he put whatever. He blessed that. Like he really blessed it. Because it's no other way to explain how it's just so amazing like that. And so this is what I was gonna say in the end before it gets real, real late and then I won't be able to fall asleep on time. They gave this example and they said, like a farmer who has an intense period of toiling soil, planting crops, and serious work, there is a fallow season. Fallow is spelled Fallow, for those of you that want to look it up and do your own research. And it's a period in which the soil is resting and replenishing its nutrients. Oh my God. That's exactly what God does in our life when we're in our resting season. When we feel like we're missing something because we're on pause, when we're waiting, when God is saying just rest. He's not telling us to rest because he wants us to feel like we're not doing anything in our life. He's telling us to rest because he's doing things in our life on our behalf, and we can't be in it. We can't be manipulating it or moving things or changing things in a way that we want, because the way that God lines everything up, the way he's so strategic, the way that his love stories that he creates, the opportunities that he creates in your life is unlike anything you could ever plan in your life. And you keep trying to manipulate situations and do things to make things in your benefit, and God already got it. While you're in your waiting season, he's doing everything that you need, that would need to be done to accomplish all the things that you want in your life, all the things that you desire, that you actually need. God is already working it out for you while you're in your resting season. And if you didn't rest, you would do something to hinder the whole story, to hinder the whole blessing that God has for you. And you don't even realize you'll be ruining it. You don't even realize that you would be doing too much. You don't even realize that you don't need your hand in this. You need God's hand in this. And so what it said what it said was, it might look like a period of rest and like nothing is happening. Mm, 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 mm. That's a whole word. That is a whole word, because when I was in my waiting season, when I was resting, I really felt like nothing was happening. I really felt like, okay, God, what am I doing? Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here. And I would try to like work on different projects or do different things, and God's like, rest. Like one day, God had the whole system shut down. I couldn't work on nothing. He was like, I told you to rest. And I really rested. And that night when I went to go to sleep, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, God, I just seem like I can't fall asleep. I really do want to rest. And I don't even remember saying rest. I would sleep so quick, and I slept the best sleep I have ever slept in my entire life. Like, you don't even understand. When you pray to God, you you don't know what you're asking for. Like, God will do that thing. And so you got to be ready for it. You got to prepare in the meantime. Like, while you're in your resting season, that is where your body is getting prepared for that next level. That's where your mind is going to be able to replenish itself, where it's going to be able to get to the place where it needs to be, instead of you constantly thinking about all the other stuff. Like, I'm an overthinker. While I'm resting, God is already working things out for my good. If I had my hand in it, if I was, manipulating a situation to be with some kind of God that I don't even need to be with, I would end up in another toxic relationship. I'd be with the wrong person because God's not in it. Or I would be with somebody way too soon, and maybe the person they're with, they need to learn a lesson, because they need to know what it's like to be with the person that they're really supposed to be with. I'm not saying it like no shade or nothing like that. I'm just saying in general. And so, like, why did I say it like that though? Like, that was just, it even came off like shadiness, but I really didn't mean it in any shade or ill intent or anything like that. I just mean, like, seriously, sometimes God will put you in certain situations in your life because he's trying to teach you something in that season. And then once you get out of that season, then it will allow you to appreciate the things that God had for you all along. Or it'll appreciate it. Like for me, in this season where God had removed so many things from my life, the things that he's given me in return, like my peace, my sanity, just the opportunity that he's given me right now is such a blessing. Like it's more than what I would have wanted or what I would have needed in my life. And the whole time I was thinking I needed something else. I needed it to be a certain amount. I needed it to be in a certain location. I needed to have a certain title. And God's saying, you don't need any of that. What I need more than anything is my peace. That none of that matters. Like if I really need the money, if God is saying, my plans are to prosper you and not to harm you, and God is saying that he's the God of abundance, and I can make that money anywhere. I don't have to be in a title to make the money that God wants me to have in my life. Like that's just the title. That's it. I don't need to be with guy X just because just because I want to be with guy X. If God wants me to be with the person that he appointed for me, that he graced just for me at the appointed time, that's who I need to be with. I don't need to be with anybody else. I don't need to go backwards. I don't need to settle. I don't need to try to manipulate the situation to get somebody to see me. I just need to be who I am and allow God to work. Like, let him work. Let him do what it is that he does, because nobody can be God better than him. There's nothing that I can do in my life that will ever it would never equate to all of the things that God can do in my life. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we pretend as if we can control these things. And the whole time you manipulate a situation and it ends up bad regardless. Like if God said not to be with that person, 3 months later y'all broke up anyways. And now you're heartbreaking on top of that. Heartbroken on top of that. So the best thing for you to do in your life is just allow God to be God. So in conclusion, because I really have like a few minutes before I need to go take a shower, and then I need to allow my body to be able to rest so I can go to sleep. But while you're in follow season, while you are resting and replenishing your nutrients, you're replenishing, your brain, maybe the healing that you went through because you've been going and going. This is the time that God is going to allow you all of those things to be healed in the right way. Like maybe you are in the process of healing, but while you're resting, you could feel whether it's something is still broken so God can heal that. Maybe while you're in the period, I don't know what that sound is. Okay. Sorry. My house, it just makes weird noises sometimes. It just is what it is. But anyways, while you're in the resting season, that's when God is helping mend your broken heart. That's when God is working on the inside of you to make you a better person. That's when God is working things out in the background to teach other people lessons so that they can be ready when it's time for you guys to be together. Maybe and I don't mean that I'm saying this for a specific person at all. It's just what's on my heart, what I'm saying. I'm not saying it to direct it towards anybody. I don't know why I feel like I need to explain that, but okay. I only say that because, no, I know why I need to explain it. Apparently, okay, I can't share that part, but just know I'm saying it for a reason. And I'm just saying what's on my heart. I mean, what's in, I'm being used as an oracle for God's sound system. Whatever it is that he wants me to say is what I'm saying. I'm not, any of the things that I'm saying is not for ill intent. It's not to like throw out hope. I mean, unintentional hope or to make anybody believe anything. Like, I'm not doing it for anybody but God. Like, this is just what God is telling me to say. This is where the message is going. This is just how it is. I just go with the flow. I'm not going with the like this is what I wrote down. This is what I felt in my spirit earlier. And I asked God to guide me. And then whatever it is that I need to say to help somebody is what I do. And I don't know what God has planned for my life. I'm not saying it like I'm trying to like throw out hope for other people. I'm saying it just because I know that whatever God is doing in my life, He's in control. I know that whatever it is that He wants to happen in my life will happen the way that He wants it to happen. I don't want to be with any person that God doesn't want me to be with. I don't want to be, settling for anything less than God's best for me. I want to be treated with respect and common decency and courtesy. Like, I want to be treated like a person with respect, honor, and respect. That's how I want to be treated. I'm not just trying to settle for somebody just because they're attractive. I don't want to just settle for somebody just because, it just seems like, what's the point? I don't want to settle for somebody just because every person that I've met besides one or two people have, it just is, we're not equally yoked. It just is not a good fit. I want to make sure that I'm intentional with my life in every single area. I want to make sure that if God is telling me to do something, I'm doing that. I want to make sure I'm being obedient. I want to make sure I'm running into God's arms. Like, I don't want to be hesitant anymore and just taking my time as if I need to slow down on an action that God is telling me to do. And if I want something, I have to go for it. If I want the job, if I want the car, if I want the person, I can't just pretend like I don't care. I really have to act like I do care. Can't just be like, oh, okay, that's fine, whatever. I really have to let it be known if the person is letting it be known and not just pretend as if it doesn't matter to me. You know, I really have to be willing to allow God to just take the lead and know when it's something that I want and when it's something that God wants for me because it's the things that I actually need. And that's where like I'm really struggling right now is allowing God to just take control. Like I want him to be in control and then sometimes I'm feeling like, oh, but and then I'm like, but what? Like if I do it, it's gonna be a disaster. Why am I not just letting God just do everything that he needs to do in my life? Because it'll be way better than me doing something, you know? Like if I do it, it's just, it's not going to be what it is. It's not. So while you're in your waiting season, while you are in your follow season, allow God to just take control. Allow your body the time to rest and replenish itself so that you can be prepared for the things that God has to come because God might not want you to just be on it, on it, on it, and hustling and bustling, doing the most. And then he knows that what he's about to present to you in your life next is going to take a lot of effort, or it's going to take a lot of you being intentional. And if you're too tired, it's going to allow the adversary to come in and distract you, to make you drift instead of being determined. So if you really want to change the world, if you really want to do everything that God put on your heart for you to do, you have to be focused. You have to be intentional. You have to allow God to multiply your life. Only God can do that. You can't do that. You might be able to add something here and there, but only God can multiply your life. Only God can replenish you. You have to let him use whatever season you're in to get you to the next level. If you follow God, he will take you everywhere you need to go. He will give you everything that you need in your life. Like, I almost fell into a trap recently. And I talked to which one of my family members who's gives the craziest advice ever. And they'll say something like, do this. And I'll be like, I'm not going to do that. But they were even nah, no, don't do this. And I was like, yeah, I can't go backwards. I cannot. I, if I'm saying this is what I want for my life, if God knows the desires of my heart and this is his intention for my life, then I need to wait on God. I can't just, backpedal. I can't. I just can't. I know I want more in my life than that. I don't just want that. I want everything God has for me. And if I want everything, I need to start acting like it.